Welcome back to the Living in Arkansas channel. Today we are going to talk about the 7 worst things about living in Northwest Arkansas, plus a few bonus ones. Now I've been here for 14 years and I've learned a lot about this area. I love it, but there's some things that really drive me nuts. There's some things that I miss about living in Washington and other areas. So we're going to talk about that today, right now. All right, everybody, as you can see, I'm trying something different. We got the GoPro, we got the drone in the air, just trying to give you a different perspective. I'm having fun with cameras. I'm playing around. I'm enjoying this. Now, the first thing I want to talk about today is crime rate. Crime rate in Arkansas as a whole is terrible. It's 5 to 8 times the national average if you're looking at the entire state. Now, if you're looking at just Northwest Arkansas, you're like 1.4, 1.3 times the national average. Wherever there are humans, there's going to be problems. Wherever there's people, there's going to be crime. And so that's the issue with any place that you're gonna live. Now, you do your own research. This is what I recommend. Go to niche.com, go to a different website, whatever you wanna do. Go check it out and see if it's a good fit for you and your family. If those crime stats work for you and your family, be sure to reach out to us and we'll help you find the right area in Northwest Arkansas. All right, the next one I want to talk to you guys about is going to be the school system in all of Arkansas. The literacy rate in Arkansas is terrible. The dropout rate is high. It just doesn't look good as a whole. Now, there's some bright spots. There's a few down in central Arkansas, but we're talking today about Bentonville, Fayetteville, Rogers, northwest corner of Arkansas. These are some bright spots that really have some good options for you and your family, your kids, especially Bentonville. There's a lot of people that want to be in the Bentonville School District. They're already moving there for work, for Walmart maybe, or Walmart area, Walmart related, and then they want to be in a really good school district, and that's going to be Bentonville. And if you've got a high school student, be sure to go check out the Ignite program. It is incredible. Can't say enough about it. There's a lot of options. It's definitely worth going to check out, especially if you have somebody that's almost high school or in high school. You're gonna wanna know about it. They're gonna like it. I've heard great things, and eventually I'll be doing a video on that. Moving on is going to be also, I highly recommend you do your own research. Go research these school districts, go research the schools that you're gonna be putting your kids in potentially. And that's gonna be niche.com. There's a whole bunch of other ones. You can use whatever one you want, but just do your own research, do your own discovery, come with questions, and let's get them answered and make sure that Northwest Arkansas is a good fit for you before you get here. Before you even start exploring the area, let's make sure it's a good fit for you. So if you've made it this far in the video, we've covered crime rate, we've covered schools and literacy and everything. If you've made it this far, then you're interested in Northwest Arkansas. That hasn't scared you away. Be sure to reach out to us so that we can get you connected in the right area that you and your family's gonna feel the safest. Whatever neighborhood that is. We got lots of pocket neighborhoods. There's not massive developments here. We got pocket neighborhoods, we've got out in the country homes and little developments that people just don't know about, and you can search for them, but you can miss them very, very easily. And if you need to be by a certain school in a certain school district, we do that all the time. So be sure to let us know that. Maybe you need to be closer to a hospital or a certain job, certain industry, whatever that may be. Be sure to let us know so that we can best serve you in finding you the right house at the right price. If you're coming from a bigger city that has a lot of public transportation and you're used to getting around that way, if you're used to getting on a bus and getting where you need to go, or maybe putting your kids on a bus and letting them get to school or library, we don't have that here. We don't have great public transportation. We have Ozark Regional Transit. Be sure to go check that out and see what kind of resources they have and the routes and such. But massive transit, we don't have a big metropolis here, so we don't really need that. And then as well, we also have U of A bus route system. So if you got a college student here, there's an option for them. you can get them to the school easily enough with just a simple bus pass. But be sure to check that out. Do your research before you get here, because that's frustrated a lot of people, and we don't want you to be frustrated. This is already going to be a stressful process about possibly moving across country. So reach out to us, do your research, and that way you're not stressed out. All right, I want to tell you a quick story about the Ozark. The ORT, our public transportation around here, goes from Fayetteville to Bentonville area. A few years ago, the whole depot burnt down and they lost, I think, 29 out of their 32 buses. And so we have a brand new fleet of buses. So if you are using that and you want to use that and you plan on using it, they are really nice brand new buses at least. So we're going to move on to the next item, and that is, it can get flipping hot here. It gets really hot for about 60 to 80 days out of the year, starting July till, mid-September, into September. It can get really hot and humid. I don't like going outside. It's really warm. You just start sweating. You don't want to do any physical work outside. Mowing is a hassle. So just be warned. That's one of the things that frustrated me about this area when I first moved here from Washington. There's not humidity up there compared to here. And the heat gets maybe to 90 up there and in the areas I was living. And it's completely different. It gets really muggy, humid here, and you feel sticky. If you're working outside, I don't know. You just may want to evaluate that. Maybe you're used to it. Maybe you're tougher than me. I don't know. On the flip end of that, as you can see, I'm in a jacket. It's 50 degrees outside with a nice cool breeze. It's December 2023 and it's cold. And at night it's getting down to, 30s, 28. It's freezing a little bit. So it gets pretty wide on the spectrum. However, fall and spring, it's quite nice. It can be a little rainy during the spring, but it's quite beautiful, especially when all the dogwoods start blooming. Definitely worth checking out, finding some road trips where there's a lot of dogwoods, and just going to see that. It's absolutely stunning around here. So pretty big negative for me is I hate the heat, and this area sometimes drives me nuts about that. So do your research, be sure to give us a call and reach out, and we can kind of tell you our perspective and describe it as best as we can so that you're not walking into something that you don't know. And we're here to help, we're here to serve. The next one I want to talk to you about is, yes, we get tornadoes here in Northwest Arkansas. In my 14 years of being here, the number of tornadoes we've had is 3. So the worst one was in 2022, and it cut through Springdale. It knocked down some buildings and tore a lot of roofs up, and it wreaked a lot of havoc. But thankfully, it did not kill anybody. Thankfully, it didn't injure anybody. It wreaked a lot of havoc for about 2 days, 3 days, and there was a lot of insurance claims. There's about 300 roofs, maybe more, that were replaced from that. The other 2 that I had experienced while living here, they were out in a cow field. They chased around some cows, they tore up a tree, and they blew over some old barns. And so thankfully nobody was hurt there as well. We get a lot of storm threats that, there's a storm system, and then it kind of just hits this system, this wall, this pressure system. I don't know what to call it. I don't know if it's technical, but it just starts heading north, and it goes up over Joplin, or it goes south and it heads to Fort Smith. So yeah, we get tornadoes here, and it freaks my wife out, but the number and frequency is very, 3 in 14 years is a pretty low ratio. That does not mean we're gonna have 3 in the next 14 years. We could have more than that. Storm shelters, you see a storm shelter in a house, 1 out of every 100, maybe 150 houses. That I've shown a lot of houses in the area, and probably that's the ratio, is 1 in 150 have a storm shelter or a safe room. There's just not many. People are not that proactively concerned about it. You can go to Home Depot and Lowe's and buy a storm shelter that bolts to your garage or something like that. Whatever it may be, helps you soothe the fear, the concern of that, it is definitely worth being safe over, but just giving you some perspective about this area when it comes to tornadoes. So today, who wants to pay more taxes than they are paying right now? Not me. I don't know who would. That would be bonkers. So our area has a pretty low state income tax. It's 4.9% if you are making the maximum amount on the tier system. I think there's 6 tiers, and I don't remember them all right now, but be sure to research those before you get here. And so you know that, know your tax implications. Also, our sales tax is a little high. I don't like it. I like going to places that are 9% or less. We are right around 10.5%, maybe 11% with some city taxes included in there. And so it becomes a little bit frustrating. It becomes a little bit of a hassle, especially if you're gonna go get a drink at a bar or something like that. They add 4%, 5% extra on there. It's significant. If you're buying a car though, everybody pays 6.5% taxes, and that is a pain in the neck as well. So there's property taxes and our income tax. Our property tax in Washington and Benton County, you know, it's based off the value of the house. Our values have gone up in the past 3 years, just like a lot of places. We haven't seen them come down. So the tax number is going up. You can still get a 4,000 square foot house in Tawnytown area, and you're gonna be paying like $6,000 or less. Depends on what city you're in, depends on what amenities you have in the area, and how big the house is, how nice it is, how new it is, all these characteristics. Like a brand new 1,500 square foot house, you might be paying $1,500 a year. You might be paying $2,500 a year, depending on if you're in Centerton or Bentonville or Fayetteville or Prairie Grove. Wherever you land, that's gonna be determined your tax rate. So be sure to map out what your income tax would be. So that way you're knowing if you're saving money. If you're coming from California, you're probably gonna save money. If you're coming from any other states that have equivalent or no income tax, then you need to know that cost. But as far as sales tax for like groceries, it's like 10%. And then for cars, it's 6.5%. And then for property tax, I think we're 0.7% of the property value that is assessed at. And the counties around here assess it every 3 years. So let's move on to the next one. All right, if I'm being honest, this is the number one thing that drives me nuts about Northwest Arkansas. And this one I take personally, because I'm gonna tell you a little bit of a story here for a second, and then I'll get into what I'm gonna talk about. So about 6 years ago, 5 years ago, my wife and I, we had a business, trucking company, and then it didn't go so well. The business we were working for wanted to pay us less, but have us do more work. We ended up closing it down and not coming to an agreement. So we had all this debt, we bankrupted on it, and thank God for bankruptcy. And so if you've gone through that, you know what I'm talking about, to be able to wipe away all that stuff. But that leaves a scar on your credit score and your record for being able to buy a house. So usually you can do it in 2 years on an FHA loan or a VA loan, but conventional, where you get a better rate, you have to wait till 4 years after the bankruptcy. And so we waited for the 4 years. We committed to getting our credit score back up, our saving a down payment, all that stuff. And right when we had the 4-year drop-off point was 2022. And we had a decent down payment, but the activity on the market was so crazy that we couldn't jump in and grab a house that was feasible for us, because we were getting beat out on so many offers in the market. And then, which a lot of people experienced. And then we also we were like, okay, we're gonna wait a little bit, see if something comes up. And then the rates started going up. And that just priced us, we're trying to be very conservative with our budget. So it just priced us out of the market to the point where the rates were just, made the payments way too high. So it really frustrated us. So this brings me to the number one thing that frustrates me about Northwest Arkansas, is the prices are just going up. And that's a good thing if you own a house and are able to jump in and buy a house. You know, we're learning lessons and living life from the College of Hard Knocks. And so we have, you know, I just told you our story. And so we are working towards buying a house, and we're almost there. We've got a good down payment, and the rates are starting to come down a little bit, but be sure to check with your lender about that. So it's frustrating for us to see all this farmland. So it's frustrating for us to see the prices just go up and up and up, and we haven't been able to take advantage of that because of the choices we make. We're responsible for the choices we made, and so we have to take ownership of that. But this is the market we live in, this is the area we like, and so we're waiting and we're saving our money to have an even bigger down payment for when the rates are better so that we can buy a house. But for us, my wife and I, that is personally, that's one of the most frustrating things about living in this area, is just the competitive market that this is. Even the past 6 months to a year in 2023, when the market has slowed down, this market stayed pretty darn active. We went from the beginning of 23 having multiple offers on a single house, even if the house was a little bit overpriced, to now today we're getting 1 to 2 offers on a house that is adequately priced. And so the market has shifted a little bit, but not in the favor of all buyers. And once those rates go down, there's gonna be more buyers in the market, and it's gonna be similar, not the same, it's gonna be similar to 2020, 2021, when there was all these 15 offers on a junk house, and the seller doesn't have to fix anything because there's still a shortage of houses. You got millennials buying, I'm a millennial. We got millennials buying their first time house, entering the market, largest generation in the world, in the history of the world. They're in the buying market right now. So yeah, it becomes a complication, it becomes a frustration for my wife and I. I just want to cover a few other ones. These are some bonus ones. I really hate, and these things grind my gears, oh my gosh. I show land a lot. People looking to homestead, build a house, whatever. They want to have a big farm. So we go walking in land, and during the summer, spring, fall, you have to wear bug spray. I hate chiggers and ticks. Chiggers and ticks, look them up. There's certain bug sprays, if you've never experienced them, don't dismiss them. They are terrible. They utterly ruin my life during the summer and spring and fall, especially if I forget bug spray, or even if I just missed, I didn't spray my elbow or whatever. They really frustrate me. Something else that really frustrates me about this area is allergies. The pollen in the area can be a lot. The trees will just make everything look like it has Cheeto dust on it. Well, there's other people that experience more allergies during that time too. Another one that frustrates me, is just the politics of the whole area. Whether you're red or blue, doesn't matter, independent. And so if you're moving here, don't do that. There's just good country folk here that were originally here. They don't want your beliefs shoved down their throat, and they don't want to do that to you. So just be courteous that way. We get a lot of people moving to the area that disrespect that, and they think it should be one way, and there's a way to be right, and there's a wrong way to be right. And so be whatever you want to be as far as politics, and just don't shove it down somebody else's throat. And then another one would be to see these big farmlands, where there was cows and just beautiful prairies, just turned into neighborhoods. We need the dwellings. I'm in real estate, I sell houses. I get it, that's the way I make money. But it still is a beautiful vista that gets turned into a neighborhood that is just kind of there. And it doesn't go back to being a natural beauty. So I get that, and it frustrates me a little bit. And a lot of the expansion, if you look at a map, is going to be westward of Fayetteville, Bentonville, Rogers. So these are just some things that really frustrate me about Northwest Arkansas. I do love it here, but I want to make sure that you know all the negatives, at least from my perspective. If this video is helpful, be sure to reach out to us, comment, like, subscribe, do all the YouTube buttons, do all the things. We'd love to hear your story and how we can best serve you in moving to Northwest Arkansas. See you later.